Hello and welcome to the Kindergarten Speakers Series at the Children's Museum of Richmond. These series are intended to provide support to parents, caregivers, and their children with practical advice in their transition to kindergarten. Our theme today is tips for emotional support, and to help us do that, we are joined by Whitney Kern. Whitney is a behavioral consultant with Chesterfield Mental Health. Hi Whitney, it's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And today we're going to talk about social emotional skills, very important topic for kindergarten readiness. Whitney, what are the social emotional milestones required for kindergarten and why are they so important?
Well, we all know that there's lots of skills that children need to start school to be the most successful they can be. And social emotional skills are at the top of the list. Social skills. So we think about that as being able to get along with other children, and that certainly is helpful. But it's also being able to get along with the adults in a school. That can be paying attention, that can be following directions, that can be following the school schedule. So there's different components to the social skills that can be really helpful to allow children to be successful.
Oh yes, I like that you're saying that, not just with other children, but with the adults, listening.
Absolutely.
That's a big one, for example.
Absolutely. And then on the emotional level, for me it's really two different components. One is being able to separate from their parents. Some children if they've never been to school before, you're going to be away from your family for 6 hours in a day. How can we work on that? But then also dealing with strong feelings.
Right.
We know that everybody has feelings, and what can we do when we're having a strong feeling about something?
So should we talk about how to help parents with children about anxiety, separation anxiety, for example?
Sure. When we're talking about separating from parents and being able to go away from them for a period of time, if they're not used to that, then we can gradually build up to that. So it might be a mom might have her child stay at home with a trusted family member or friend and maybe take a walk around the block. Just a short time to be away. And then maybe she goes and does an errand. Or maybe she goes and has some self-care for herself. Or father or grandmother, whoever the adult might be. So we're gradually helping them be able to be away from their parents or their family members for a period of time.
I love that advice because it's so practical and also very important to say, okay Charlie, I'm gonna go away for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and I will be back. So then he knows that mom is gonna pick him up at a certain time, what she says she's going to, right?
Absolutely.
There's a trust.
There's a great book called The Kissing Hand that the mom kisses the child's hand so he can hold on to it throughout the school day because he's a little bit nervous about going to school for the first time.
Right.
And that's a wonderful book to read if you feel like your child might be a little bit nervous.
All of that is great advice, Whitney. Now, how can we help our children build social and emotional skills before school starts?
Well, it's a very simple process. Any family member, I'm telling you right now, you do not have to talk about what you want your child to do, what skill you want to have anymore. You've done that. You've told them how to play. You've said, don't do this or do this. The same thing is true with strong feelings. I bet you everybody watching this has told their child what they cannot do if they're having a strong feeling. What I'm here to say is now you get to practice. You get to act out what you want them to do. They already know what not to do. We're going to practice what to do, both socially and emotionally.
So when you say they already know what not to do, can you please give me an example?
Sure. You have the toy that I want.
Okay.
I know every family has at some point in time said to their child, let's not snatch. So if I, give me that toy, your child already knows not to do that. What we can do is this. So now I'm going to pretend that you're my mom.
Okay.
And you have the toy that I want. I'm the rising kindergartner.
Okay.
And you would say to me, how do you ask for the toy nicely? Say that.
Whitney, How do you ask for the toy nicely?
Can I have the toy, please?
Of course.
That's as simple as that. That's how we practice.
Mm-hmm.
If it's interesting because sometimes with social and emotional skills, we don't think about them being able to be taught,
Mm-hmm.
but they absolutely can be, and it's all about practice. Do we have practice time? Do we have acting time? Do we have pretend time? Do we have make-believe time? In my family, we called it Broadway time because it was all about acting.
Oh, I see.
And so it really is, if your child needs to practice sharing or waiting their turn or asking for a toy nicely, how do we enter into play? How do we leave play? The parent or the adult becomes, it could be another child, it could be the teacher, where you practice something. So if you notice your child has some challenges around entering into play, you would pretend to be playing with something.
Exactly.
And I, as the child, would say, can I play, please?
Mm-hmm.
And you would say, yes.
Right. The best thing to do is to practice with them like in a daily basis. And not just playing, but in every situation at home, right?
But you did make a good point too, that you can just practice social
Right.
skills in the heat of the moment. As
Exactly.
if you have multiple children, if your child's having a play date and they're playing together, be around.
Exactly.
So that you can be right there. If something breaks out, so to speak,
Yes.
you can say, okay, let me have the toy, please.
Mm-hmm.
Let's practice. You want the toy and you want the toy. What could we do?
Right.
Could we play with the toy together? Could you take a turn, then you take a turn?
Mhm.
So you're helping them realize what that skill is.
Absolutely, and through role play and repeating, we are internalizing that message.
Absolutely.
And also, now that you're talking about play, I remember when my daughter was very little at the park, she was having a hard time interacting with other children, and it was, she felt, I don't know, maybe a little apprehensive, and I remember me going with her, sitting down and playing with her, and then when other children were approaching, we were just inviting them to play.
Absolutely.
And we were practicing sharing, and little by little, when I saw her that she was getting comfortable, I would just withdraw myself and let her play, and it works like magic.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. And it's not some formal thing that the child's like, oh, I'm in trouble,
Exactly.
or I'm not doing this right. And no, it was
Yes.
just a natural, organic way of practicing.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing holds true with emotional skills.
Right.
So what we say in our agency is feelings are okay. Have any feeling you want in the world.
Mm-hmm.
What you do with that feeling may or may not be okay. So
Right.
I'm not really, but let's pretend for a moment that I'm mad at you.
Yes.
I cannot smack you on the arm. That's inappropriate.
Yes.
But I can be mad.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the biggest things that I am seeing is the increase in teaching of social emotional skills. The emotional skills, absolutely. There's lots of different ways that we can do it.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about our own feelings. I'm feeling happy because you're picking up the toys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling sad because you're choosing not to pick up the toys.
Mm-hmm.
It might be we use feeling spaces. If you Google feeling spaces, you will see it might be cartoons, it might be pictures of children with feelings,
Mhm.
so we can help them learn what the word is that goes along with the feeling that's going on in their body.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things to do is play feeling charades,
Mm-hmm.
where you act it out. Okay, I'm going to pretend to have a feeling. So watch my face
Mhm.
and guess how I'm feeling. On the count of 3, you ready?
Mhm.
1, 2, 3.
Sad.
Sad, yes.
Mhm.
How did you know I was feeling sad?
Because you were crying.
Absolutely. We don't always cry, but in this case we did. What's something that makes you feel sad inside?
When I see that animals are mistreated, I feel very, very,
Absolutely.
very sad.
All fun ways to do it. The other thing that families can do is create a feelings chart,
Mhm.
which is just pictures and words of in your home, What is it okay to do when you're having a strong feeling and it needs to come out of you?
Right.
And I brought some things. These are just samples of what we could do. Certainly physical activity, run, kick a ball, throw a ball, dance. It might be books. One of my favorites, Today I Feel Silly by Jamie Lee Curtis. There are also books specific to specific feelings. This is I Was So Mad by Mercer Mayer. But really, any children's book has feelings in it. Rainbow Fish, a favorite of mine. But Rainbow Fish has lots of feelings that he has to get out.
Right.
So as we're reading the book, just like the 5th RVA Basic says, read and discuss stories. You can read the words, but you can also discuss them by adding in some feelings talk.
Absolutely.
I have some other things on here. Certainly stress. This is a stress heart. Stress balls or stress objects. One of my personal favorites, I save it all the time when I buy from Amazon. Bubble paper. I can pop the bubble paper. It might be a couple of different things we can do. One is just scribble a picture. Take crayon, marker, pencil, scribble it. But also, you can have just regular paper. I use junk mail, and I have children. Let's rip it up. And I might throw it in the trash. If your child is, like I was as a child, kind of noisy and enjoys noise, it could be something like this, which looks kind of boring, doesn't it?
It does.
Until...
I love it.
Now, some children might not like this. And it is called a giggle stick. You can buy them on Amazon. But some children might not like it because of the noise. But some, absolutely.
Right. Oh, I saw one like that. That, you know what? When I was in kindergarten, actually.
Anyway, absolutely.
What about breathing?
I knew. You knew what I was getting to next.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Because some children, you know, feelings require and create energy in our body. And so sometimes if they're like this, we need to get it out. But sometimes we need to calm it down.
Right.
So absolutely, it could be counting to 10.
Exactly.
But breathing, this is what we use.
Sorry, now that you say counting to 10, we're also practicing numbers.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So how do you do it?
So there's lots of different ways to teach breathing. We don't just say, take a deep breath.
Right.
That's kind of...
And then you get mad.
Exactly.
When they say, somebody says that, you go like, I don't want to breathe.
Right. But if you can make it fun.
Right.
We smell the flower with our nose. We blow out the candle with our mouth. Smell the flower. Blow out the candle. I did that quickly. There's other ways of breathing. Sometimes we do palm breathing, where I trace my hand. So I breathe in when I go up.
Okay.
And I breathe out when I go down.
Oh, I love this one. You have to do your eyes if you want to.
Absolutely.
And this is so visual.
Yes, I enjoy.
It's perfect. I love this one.
I enjoy dragon breathing. I pretend to be a dragon. So I breathe in, but then I'm going to be a dragon.
Oh, perfect.
Or
that's humor. Children love that.
Absolutely.
They can transform a situation that is
Yes.
going to maybe escalate into something funny. And
Absolutely.
then you bring humor.
I love hot chocolate breathing, so you pretend to hold hot chocolate. So here's your hot chocolate. It smells so good. Smell it. Oh, but it's really hot. Blow on it.
Right, perfect. Those are wonderful techniques for self-regulation. And you were talking about feelings, and it's as important to learn to regulate ourselves, to name the emotions, right? So what else can we teach besides mad, glad, sad, and afraid? Or do you think that's enough?
Those are the basics.
Those are the
for
basics.
right now, those are the big four,
okay.
as I call them. And so if your child knows those feelings, you can go to some other ones. Sometimes we'll do frustrated, we'll do irritated, we'll do embarrassed. Sometimes we'll do proud, but definitely the big four: happy, sad, mad. Happy, sad, mad, scared, are the ones to really work on. Once your child has mastered those, then you can go to other feelings. And honestly, this is the one time, like I said, I Google all the time, there's all sorts of feeling spaces. You also might want to watch your child, and you kind of notice if there's a feeling that you see them having, that might be one that I would work on with them.
Right.
If it's embarrassed or jealous. Sometimes rising kindergartners might have new babies coming.
Right.
I have a number of families I'm working with right now that the new baby's about to be here. Well, that's an interesting time we could say sad, we could say happy, we could say mad, but we also could use the word jealous.
Absolutely.
To teach that particular skill. And then what you can do is, that's why I call this a feelings chart. Whatever the strong feeling is in your family, you can draw a picture. If you like books, and have a picture of a book. If you liked the flower and candle idea, you could say deep breath and have a picture of a flower, picture of a candle. You also can take a small container and put these things in it.
Right.
So it's right there, able to be used when the child needs it.
Yes.
If your child is in preschool, they might have a cozy corner or a calm down corner or a quiet corner. You can certainly create that in your home where there's a quiet area with all of this stuff. So you don't have to go searching for it in the moment.
And also it's important for you to use it as well. Not necessarily when your child is having a tantrum but any moment where you feel, oh, you know what, mommy needs to go to the quiet corner.
Absolutely. So the important thing with this is that we know social and emotional skills can be taught. Everybody has skills we're good at. Everybody has skills we need to work on a little bit. They can be taught through practice, both in the moment when it's happening, but also afterwards. What could you have done? What's another way to deal with this? So social and emotional skills are, while academics are important, language are important, all these other skills are important, social and emotional skills are, for me, right up there with some of the most important skills to help children get ready for school.
This has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And good luck to all the families who are getting their children to big school.
Big day. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.